Hey everybody, Drilling in the Name of here. Today's video was kind of unplanned, so you'll have to excuse me if it's a little disjointed. I've been working on kind of a comprehensive, in-depth guide for the reinforced power drills, and I discovered something that kind of shattered my entire understanding of the drill mechanic in DRG. It got so complicated and took me down such a long rabbit hole that I just decided it needed a video of its own. Now, the section I'm referring to dealt with the debate between hardened drill tips and barbed drills. Now, I've personally always preferred the maneuverability of hardened drill tips. I also know, especially as a cryo driller, that barbed drills probably makes more sense just given how powerful the double melee damage is when combined with the frozen status effect and the vampire perk. However, between the cryo cannon and the EPC and the impact axe and the satchel charge, I don't necessarily feel like I need to have my drills be primarily a combat option as well. The drills are my traversal tool, so having them be at their max speed and max efficiency for that purpose is what makes sense to me. So for this drill guide, I thought, hey, why don't I just do a side-by-side comparison so I can show my perspective and explain why it's better for my playstyle. I mean, what could go wrong? So you can probably see why I said this completely obliterated my understanding of the drill mechanic and how the two different mods actually work. I was actually shocked at how little difference there was between the two. Let's dive into the numbers.
So with hardened drill tips, it took 5 seconds to reach overheat, took us a distance of 12 meters at a rate of 2.4 meters per second, and used 4 liters of fuel. Barbed drills also took 5 seconds to reach overheat, took us a distance of 10 meters at a rate of 2 meters per second, and used 3 liters of fuel. Now I should clarify really quickly that when I say to overheat, I really mean up until overheat, since obviously it's not optimal to overheat your drills.
I have to say I was just truly stunned by these numbers. Obviously I'd never done a side-by-side like this before, but I just assumed that a faster mining rate meant that your drills spin faster, reach overheat faster, but carry you much farther. Instead, they take the exact same amount of time to overheat and only get you 2 meters farther on a full cycle. So then I thought, well, at least extrapolated over a full tank of fuel, hardened drill tips at least get you a much further distance overall. But no.
If 5 seconds of drilling with hardened drill tips costs 4 liters of fuel, then you get 55 seconds of drilling on a full tank, which takes you 132 meters. But barbed drills cost 3 liters of fuel per 5 seconds of drilling, so even though you're only drilling 2 meters per second, you get just over 73 seconds of drilling, meaning a full tank of fuel will take you nearly 150 meters.
So I guess the question now is, why does it seem so different? I've tried barbed drills many times, but after using hardened drill tips for so long, it just feels so much slower. But after watching these clips a few times, I'm realizing it may all be a placebo.
If you're just looking at the drill animations for each mod, visually they're pretty similar, but let's do the opposite and listen to the difference. This is what hardened drill tips sound like. And this is what barbed drills sound like.
I really think this is why I was so convinced there's this massive difference between the two. Within the same time span, you hear 15 terrain breaks, or rock knocks as I call them, while using hardened drill tips, but only 11 when using barbed drills. So with the upgraded mining rate, you're traveling just under 17% farther, but you're hearing almost 27% more rock knocks. So of course it seems faster. In the end, it just feels like an odd design choice because they did such a great job of making it feel so much faster, so why not make it actually much faster considering the player is deliberately choosing to build their drills that way. I'm obviously going to need a stiff one for this. I'm going with a Bourbon County Stout that was aged in Old Forester Birthday Bourbon barrels. Hope the beer is as good as the alliteration. It's not. Anyway, I talked to Masnothus about this, and he thought maybe the discrepancy between mining rate and movement speed was the issue here, and suggested trying it again with Rich Atmosphere, so I loaded one up in the beta.
So as you can see, it still took 5 seconds to overheat and cost 4 liters of fuel, but we traveled 13.6 meters this time at a rate of 2.72 meters per second. Now the barbed drills test was really interesting because I got basically the same stats, except the drills seemed to really sputter and choke throughout the process. This actually made it fairly difficult to get a decent clip because it seemed like my drills kept getting stuck and stalling.
Now obviously I'm a little biased against barbed drills, so at first I was thinking my drills are being dumb because barbed drills suck.
In reality, it was just confirming the theory even further because what's really happening is that due to the rich atmosphere, I'm walking too fast for the drills to keep up, so I'm actually just face planting into the wall over and over. It also suggests that I went further with hardened drill tips than I did in normal atmosphere because I was walking fast enough to keep up with the drills.
So I guess the real mystery at this point is what the hell is mining rate? And why doesn't it seem to scale appropriately with each mod that upgrades it? Because hardened drill tips certainly isn't 50% faster than barbed drills.
If you go to the DRG Wiki, which I'll link to in the description, they list the base mining rate as 1.5.
1.5 what?
I assumed that this meant 1.5 meters per second, but with both mining rate upgrade mods, you're left with a mining rate of 3, and I certainly wasn't mining at 3 meters per second.
Obviously I'm not going to get to the bottom of this by sitting here and being mad at my computer screen. I need raw numbers from the back end, so I reached out to DRG's resident numbers guy, MeatShield. It turns out he hadn't done a deep dive into the reinforced power drills yet, but he did say he believes that mining rate is the number of times per second that the drills break terrain. He also believed that when it comes down to it, mining speed is more dependent on the movement penalty than it is the mining rate, and that using both mining rate upgrades does cause you to drill faster than you can walk. After hours of testing, MeatShield has determined that the drills dig exactly 1.03 meters horizontally every time they successfully break terrain. Now, I may have ended my math career in Calc 2, but that was a long time ago and I can barely handle algebra at this point, so I'm going to let MeatShield handle the final calculations.
The much anticipated results are in, and it seems as though the theory has been confirmed. According to his findings, the only time mining speed and movement speed match up is when you have only one mining rate upgrade applied, meaning you either take barbed drills or expanded fuel tanks in Tier 1, or you take hardened drill tips and forgo supercharged motor in Tier 3.
Now obviously supercharged motor is the only mod in Tier 3, so it really makes no sense to not take the upgrade there. And we've now determined that taking no mining rate upgrades means that you walk faster than you drill, and taking both mining rate upgrades means you drill faster than you walk. So I guess the ultimate takeaway is if you truly want to optimize mining rate, movement speed, and fuel efficiency, barbed drills is the way to go. And that's dumb. But at least I know now, and I honestly feel like a better driller for it. In the end, I guess the only lingering question is, why were the drills programmed this way? Was this a deliberate decision, or was this just a simple oversight by the developers? Because it just seems so odd for these values to not match up, especially when you're modding your drills for speed. And when it comes to modding your drills, there's really only 3 options, which is speed, combat, and overall fuel. 44 liters has always felt like more than enough, so I'm sure the vast majority of people choose between speed and combat. And as I mentioned before, the Cryo Barbed Drills Vampire combo is extremely powerful. So if you're sacrificing that for speed, the speed benefit should at least be worth it. Shit, make it twice as fast and just let me fly through the dirt. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it should be noticeably faster. You'd burn through fuel and you'd have to be very careful to conserve and only use your drills when necessary. Anyway, enough about drills for now. Big thank you to MeatShield for all his help with the research for this video. Make sure to check out his blog post on the reinforced power drills over on carl.gg. There is a ton of information, and he details a way to use the hardened drill tips without wasting any fuel, so be sure to give it a read. He also created the DPS calculator, which is a great way to analyze your builds, which I'll link to in the description as well. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and also please leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on our findings, because I'm really curious to see what you think. Thanks for watching. Rock and Stone.